Okay. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. It's Kanesha from boldlivingtoday.com. Oh my gosh. Internet connection issues, but finally on, and I'm super excited to be live with you all and to talk about amazing things with our fantastic guest. So this is Wednesday Club. If you have been a follower of Bold Living Today before, you know I've had this series of Wednesday Club that's really focused on creativity, learning from and successfully navigating life transitions, untangling from things and thoughts that keep us small, and then building and amplifying our boldness. So, oh my gosh, this was definitely a feat in patience with the internet and rebooting and just knowing we were going to get it on. So today I'm super excited to talk with Renee Washington. This woman is amazing. She's from Career Triage HQ, and she's going to talk to us today about life transitions, midlife things, and so many other things, and it's going to be a fabulous conversation. So I'm so glad you can join us today. Make sure you post any questions in the comments so we can get to them and just really have a great discussion. And grab your notebook or journal so you can take notes. So I'm going to invite Renee on now that I finally got on to Instagram Live so we can get into it. Hey girl, okay, I'm going to invite you on now that my internet is not acting janky. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Let's be bold and patient and compassionate with ourselves, even with bad internet connection. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I see she's gonna come up.
Hey!
Oh my gosh, girl. I'm so sorry for being tardy for our own party.
No, that's okay. It's happening. It's happening. I just sat here. I was like, okay, tech angels, this is happening.
You know, I just want to say before I derail our own conversation, like living in Silicon Valley, you would think we would have the most superior internet. It is not. I tell people that all the time. I guess all the big tech giants are using it all up. And plus,
yeah.
You know, and everybody's at home now, you know, so we're all on the internet. But thank you for your patience and welcome to Wednesday Club.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm so extra excited. Yeah,
Yes,
I've been telling people, I've been talking to Kanesha for what, 2 years now?
Yes.
Just through Facebook posts. And now this is our first conversation.
You know, I really think it's important. I know you have posted this on your own social media that social media is what you make it and how you connect with people and interact. And I totally believe that. I mean, I know it can be like the devil.
Yeah.
But it's also a place to like really connect and find your people and have conversations. And, you know, I won't tell everybody some of the offline conversations we've had via yeah, but I just knew there was an interest. You know, a really strong connection in wanting to help people in what your strengths and gifts are. Yeah. And I know right now it's a lot of saturation around people who are consultants and coaches and whatever gurus, thought leaders, whatever the title is. And it's really hard for people to kind of navigate what they call with the self-help, professional development, like all those words. And I always appreciate connecting with other people who are in a similar field and doing their own things, because I want to learn from them too, and I want to upgrade things, and I want to be bolder, and you know, you have to be a lifelong learner to do all those things. So
yes, and I'm inspired by watching your children. Oh my gosh, they are so amazing. So yes,
well, those children are amazing today. Get me back online, so thanks to that. I was like, what's going on with the internet? Like, Mom, calm down now. We'll get this fixed. You'll be okay. And plus, I also have issues about being late for things. So they were like, it's fine. It'll be fine. So luckily, I've coached them enough that they can coach me back off the list.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So Renee, tell us, you know, I want to do an intro of you, but just tell us who you are and what you do. And then I want to get into our fun game before we talk business.
So I am Renee Washington. I am a life coach, career coach, and most of all, I'm a woman who loves living life full tilt. So yes, that's who I am.
Yeah, and so I know that you just recently, I'm looking at my notes here, co-founded the Career Triage HQ.
Triage.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. What that is.
Yes. So, you know, both of us came out of the Martha Beck Life Coaching School. And when I came out of that, I really got into that, Kanesha, because I had a long career in corporate. And when I burned out of there and retired, and I was tired, now I say I'm rewired. But I had no plan to start a business, but had always been interested in life coaching. Ended up going through the life coaching school, and in the midst of that, they encourage you, charge people. And people had continued to reach out to me after I left my company for coaching. So I said, okay. And I kind of fell into the coaching business,
Mm-hmm.
and was a solopreneur for a few years, and focused on women in midlife transition. And then last year, I got this bright idea to bring in a couple of my besties who had also gone through that same company with me, and are brilliant women. And so we co-founded Career Triage, because we believe that work should be fun. You should enjoy your work. You should be working in your purpose and passion.
Yes.
And yes, and you should connect to that. And we have those make a life years that may connect to that, but a lot of times they don't necessarily. And so we just believe that, you have that opportunity to make that pivot and do that thing you were put here to do. So that's what we do in Career Triage.
I love that. I love the part about work should be fun. You should make your work fun. And not that hard work is not going to be taxing, but there should be
an
element of it. And I believe the same thing. I came to life coaching through educational route, meaning, I was a educator, high school teacher, professor, and all of that. And, was having a change, and, it wasn't quite a retirement, even though I wish I could have retired, but it definitely took some rewiring. So I love how you talk about, getting retired to rewired and just figuring out the next thing. So before we get into like the really meaty stuff, I have a little game, because you said work should be fun, and I always try to make my
work fun. Okay.
I always like to have guests play Would You Rather, where I give you two choices for things, and then you can say Would you rather. And of course, you're the boss of you. So if these choices are like busted, you can say no, I would rather not either of those, and would do this and that. Because it's a lot of times, especially I found right now, while people are staying home and, trying to stay healthy and not be all in the outdoors and spreading, the COVID.
Yes.
That we need something to kind of shift our brains to work and fun, so that you can find this new space of balance, because this is all new. No one has done this before.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And people are trying to use previous coping strategies for this new space and time. So I always try to, do something a little fun, so we can always get our brain relaxed, so that we can fun. Okay, so here's the first thing. Would you rather, and this is, best case scenario, good condition, all of that. Would you rather right now vacation in Positano or Mykonos? Would you rather?
I've been to both of those places. That's so hard. Oh my gosh.
I knew you had been to Positano, but I didn't know you had been to Mykonos. That's so funny. These are places
that's
I'm
not
fair
right
now. So,
all right. Ooh. Let me tell you where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be in Lisbon this summer. I was supposed to be in Lisbon, Portugal. Been living there for 3 months, bouncing around Europe. Me and my husband living our best life. That's where I was supposed to be.
Oh, honey. So you would rather right now definitely be in Lisbon. Okay, so we're gonna let you go there, because that's where you're supposed to be.
Thank you.
Oh, postponed, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you rather have a full-time chef or live-in housekeeper?
Gosh, you make these questions hard, girl.
Okay, somebody says they want the chef.
I know, right? Well, okay. And here's the thing about me. I don't want anybody else living with me other than my husband. See, that's the first thing. So I would say if they can't live here. So, but they can be full time. They can't live here.
Full-time chef or full-time housekeeper?
I'll take the housekeeper.
Okay. This one was hard for me too, but I figured I would go with the housekeeper just because, I grew up as an only child, and I'm used to spaces, and I have a family. And that's not how this works. So, I need the house
Yeah.
cleaner.
Yeah. And it's because of my husband. If it was just me, I'd pick the chef. But he is so cluttery. I'm calling him out.
I hear, my oldest is an artist, so you want to talk about cluttery. I love the creative mind, and it's amazing, but there's things.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so here's the last one. Would you rather have lunch with Serena Williams or Ava DuVernay?
Ava. Ava, I love Serena, but yes, I would love to. Ava and I shared a moment. We were at the museums in Montgomery, Alabama, that are around the the enslaved history of our people, the lynching museum in Montgomery, Brian Stevenson's work, the Equal Justice Initiative, and she was there for the grand opening, and we saw each other across the sidewalk, and we just connected through eyes, and she just kind of. Yes. And I was like, yes. It's like we had a moment. So I would love to extend that.
I love that. I love that moment. Yeah. I feel like I kind of had the moment because you had it. I'm like, ooh, that would be wonderful. I would love to have that. My daughter was supposed to take some 1 or 2 credit course or whatever with Ava through her college, and then with the pandemic, everything. And so she's just like, Mom. I'm like, it's just postponed. And she's just like,
postponed.
I'm
That's
like,
right.
okay.
Postponed.
I'm like, we can watch all her movies to make you feel closer and do those things.
I
love it.
Yeah, I just think she's amazing. Yeah, they both are, but yeah.
No. I mean, there's so much amazingness and so many paths we can take at any age and anything. So, I kind of picked them as the last would you rather, just because they are so accomplished in so many areas, but they continue to grow and push. And I know that's a lot around your work and mindset, transitions and opportunities. So that was by design, because I'm like, I want to look at 2 powerful women that I'm always following just for inspiration, and just seeing, Black women winning, and then but also winning in their Blackness along with their talent and passion and just what they bring to the world. Because I know we've had some conversations offline about how we get to show up, when we get to show up fully, and what that means. And this is not the time to not show up fully and not to, actualize all that we are, right?
Yes, absolutely. This is the time. This is the window. One of my partners, we talked about how this is the time to ditch all of those narratives of who we are supposed to be, who we thought we had to be to show up in these white spaces and these corporations and businesses and just in the world. And that this is the time to finally release yourself from all of that. And it is so insidious. I find myself every day seeing something that is connected to some old narrative, and I'm like, no, I'm not receiving that. I'm not walking in that. I'm not spewing that. Yes, yes. This is the time.
I think the thing that has been so pivotal in my full window, I opened my window, years ago when I decided to move away from a particular K-12 administration position, and not because I didn't love the position or the passion, but I was like, I don't want my wings clipped. I've been working too hard, and especially navigating those spaces and those rules and, the unsaid performative stuff, that I wanted to have more space and freedom. And that's part of the reason that I went to higher ed. One, I knew I could be super effective and all of that. And it was kind of like a mid-career change in that bookend of my career of being in a formal organization. And one thing that you've said that has struck me just in reading your post, but specifically today, is that, as women specifically, because, this can apply to everybody, but as women specifically, how we just stretch and bend and do all these different things, which contributes to either us staying the course, burning out, just not being able to do it. So when you think about the work that you're doing, as a solopreneur, and then going into the career triage HQ, what are some of the burnout signs specifically to people's careers that they ignore, or they don't pay attention to?
Oh yeah. So when you said, you didn't really you officially retire, so I didn't either. So I had been at my company for 21 years. No, no, wait, no. No. I've been there, gosh, 27, 26 or 27 years. Anyway, um I was 5 years away from official retirement and just feeling more and more. And most of my career had been great, but I was just feeling the push and the stress and the strain of this just was not working for me anymore. And I was in training and development. I managed the manager training program there. I was an in-house coach there. So I was in the motivating business in the company, and I was just dragging and pleading and praying and like, oh, let me hang on, let me stay, all of that, until one day I realized that, because you externalize, which is a sign. When you start externalizing about a boss or a company or your spouse or significant other or they, them, that's a sign that you need to start looking at yourself. And I realized that one day I had this realization because my then fiance said to me, I was like, I'm praying and praying. Why can't I just, feel better about staying? And he said, maybe God is packing your bags. And that was just like boom for me. And when I thought about that, and I realized that the company had changed their retirement criteria 3 times during my tenure. And it hit me. I was like, why am I letting some external entity make these arbitrary decisions about my life? I get to say. And so I looked up the word retirement. And even though a company will tell you when you can officially retire, all retirement means is that you worked somewhere and you ended, you have like, I'm retiring myself, and, and so I left. And so, those signs of you get, you start to externalize, you feel exhausted all the time. The other day, it was Monday, and I was sitting at my desk going, whoo, I have a lot to do. And then I realized, and I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot, but I feel good about it. And at that time, I was feeling like, oh God, I just can't hang on. And so exhaustion, irritability, getting good woman exhaustion. You are so tired of being the one that does for everybody. Relationship drama and relationship drama can be, yes, your significant other, it could be friends, it could be your children, but women reach a certain stage of life where you typically have been the nurturer, the caretaker, the tender, and you have not been on your list. Yes. Or you're very low on the list. Yes. And so there comes a time, a certain stage of life where it's like, and I have heard women actually say, when is it my turn? And when you start having those thoughts and those feelings, that's a sign. And you feel guilty about wanting to prioritize yourself. Those are all signs that you have been suppressing some things that you need to deal with. And you probably need to renegotiate the paradigm of your relationship. Doesn't mean that you have to ditch them, but they need to at least be renegotiated.
I love how you say, we need to renegotiate what that looks like, because when I work with my clients and we get, they come for something else and we realize it's burnout. I want a career change. I want to be a leader. I want to do something because, my work really focuses on productivity. So it's like, I'm not productive anymore. I'm not this. And then we figure out and uncover it's like total burnout. And I'm always asking a really pointed question was, if you're not in this role anymore, or if you're not in this title anymore, or, whatever it is, what would that mean for your life? What message would that send to you? And that's when it all breaks open. There's this so tethered and tied to this outward, external praise or check mark, or that you're now successful. Like somebody else's marker for your success has totally derailed what you would want for yourself or how you feel about yourself and all the things that you mentioned. And I love that you know, say one of your coaching principles is you are your own answer. You
Yes.
getting your clients to that. So, you know, how do you help people see that? Or, you know, what do you do to gently put, I want to say push them toward, but gently get them going in that space of being their own answer? Like, how do you do that with your clients or, you know, in your presentations?
Yes, yes. So, you know, one of our favorite questions is, which connects to what you just said, is who are you without role or title?
Mm,
And when I've asked some women that question, a lot can't answer it, but some, it brings some to tears.
yes.
Who are you without role or title? And so we start, you know, with, you know, in career triage, you know, we have three focuses that get you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you said, we start in a certain place and then the truth comes out. But we focus on, okay, what are your strengths? And, you know, you know, and people are like, well, but we actually assess you in the Strengths Finders assessment. And typically we're working with people who have come out of corporate, who have gone through these different assessments, but you go through the assessment and you read the report and you're like, oh, okay, no, we go deep. And we go, no, this is what these strengths mean for you, because a lot of times in corporate, you're focused on opportunities and
Yes.
weaknesses. How can you improve your weaknesses? And we're like, ditch that crap. No, strengthen your strengths. Start there. And then, you know, who are you? And we dig deep into that who are you question, because a lot of times it is tagged to a role, a title, what somebody else has told you should be, who you should be, and who you thought you should be. But who we are changes during different stages of our lives. You know, I'm not the same person. I'm 60 years old. I'm not the same person I was, thank God, when I was 20. So, you know, who are you now? And to drop the lies from the story you tell yourself about
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And that's how you get to what you want. People typically just start out here saying, I want a new house, or I want a new job. You know, what's the why on the other side of that desire? And until you connect to who you really are at this stage of life right now, you probably are going to stumble around in your what you want. So we get you real clear on that, and then take action. Take action and rebrand yourself. You know, we really believe in the personal brand paradigm, because now, as we know, you can't depend on a company to
No.
take care of you anymore. And even if you are inside of a company loving what you do, you need to be working and developing and creating a personal brand, because at any moment, one of our mottos is stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. So, yeah.
That
So
is
come what
it.
may. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
I
yes.
always hear people say stay future ready, but I like it better stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Just because
Mm-hmm.
we can still be in the moment getting ready. Because if you say
Mm-hmm.
future ready, it just puts too much. I think it puts too much mental pressure.
Yeah, because
Where
you're
like
trying to
I'm
figure
just
out what is the
managing
future.
this. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes. Just yes, yes. See yourself and be open to opportunity, and then, you know, you direct your path instead of letting others direct it for you.
So, you know, this is not something that we kind of pre talked about, but I'm just curious about this. So, I know a lot of times when I get clients, they're mostly the one on one clients are mostly referrals, just because someone will see another person and they've had some shift or change and something seems
Yes,
like, what happened to you? What did you do? Did you get work
yes,
done? Yeah, you got work done.
yes,
And, you know, that's how I get the one on one clients. And, you know, workshops, presentations, whatnot, people come to those, you know, either through, you know, contracting or it's a conference or whatever. But when people come for one-on-one work, and a lot of times people want instant support, instant help, instant change, which I always say, you know, you've built up what you have now. We have to, you know, untangle for some of those things.
absolutely.
What do you tell someone who wants the quick fix, but you know they need to come and have this whole paradigm shift and get their personal brand developed? Like, what do you tell them about the investment in coaching? And I specifically asking you this, Renee, because you know we're Black people, and we know
Right.
not enough Black people are getting either therapy,
Th-
coaching, or the
exactly.
combination. And I just want to be really clear that you know it's okay for us to get coaching. you
It
know,
is. Oh
and
my
you know,
gosh.
and help around all these different things. It's okay that, you know, we're not weaker, we're not, you know, less competent or whatever. It's like we're smart because we're gonna get the help so we can go and keep our stamina and energy and not be burnt out and exhausted. So what do you tell people when they are thinking about investing, like how much
Oh
time
yeah.
to take?
Yes, yeah. How much time? Yeah. So we tell people this is up to you.
Okay.
And I love what you said about the investing in coaching, because you know the other thing we tell, you know, we drink our own tea, we get coached.
Yes.
I hire coaches for myself, and so we're not just up here speaking about something that's a theory. This is real. We believe everybody should have a life coach.
Yes.
And and particularly for Black people, we're just now getting into the therapy is okay lane, that it's okay to get a therapy, but get a therapist, but people are still struggling with that. And then so you bring in a life coach. Well, what's that? I've had clients who have a therapist and me as their coach,
Yes.
because there are two different focuses there. The therapist is, yes, going into your past typically, and helping you shed some deep, trauma kind of related things. And coaching may touch on that, but we are more action oriented, because people can go to therapy for 30 years. They'll have a therapist just as an ongoing thing, whereas typically coaching is more, okay, you have some type of goal in mind, and we're more action, move you forward focus. So the two things can work together in a parallel fashion. And so we, tell people, okay, what do you want? And so typically, like you said, people will say one thing, but when you get into it, it ends up being something else.
Yeah.
And that quickness fast thing, no, because like you said, you're 30, 40, 50 years old, and now you're just going to fix yourself in an hour. No, that's not how it works. Because these things are ingrained. You have to shed a lot of limiting beliefs, and that's coaching speak. But so my way of saying is, you gotta let a lot of shit go. So
Yes. Like, let that
you
shit
know,
go. I love when you
yeah,
always say
that's
that. Let that shit go.
that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's an ongoing practice to do that. It's not a one and done. I have a daily mind shift practice. And if I go 2 days without doing it, I have to reel myself back in. So this is, so the work is lifelong to me in a certain sense. And so but the shifts, yes, they will come, but it's not like, oh, tomorrow I am free. No, it's not. There is work connected to it. But, and that's one of the things we talk about is that journey thing is true, that it's about the journey. So we talk about, I used to say detach from outcome, but now I say surrender to outcome, surrender to the outcome, and just stay focused on, showing up for yourself. And that's what we're going to work with you. How's the best way for you to show up for yourself? What type of changes represent that for you? And stay focused on those, and trust yourself and trust the outcome, and where you're going to end up, where you want to be. And it works. It's not if you do the work works. So,
Yes.
yeah.
No, thank you for that. I just thought that was important. Like when I was just listening to you, I'm always thinking about who would be the most resistant and what question would they need answered for them.
Oh, God,
Because
yeah.
I find from my work, sometimes I have people with career changes, but that's not why they really come to me.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine we both attract high achievers to our practices, to our
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
those are the people who want
Yes.
to go faster, the quickest. And a lot of times my clients are creatives, like, they have some creative passion, like artists, writers, and things like that. Or I have high achieving parents who have teens that are not, I would say, wired like them. And so they're having a harder time relating during this teen stage.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're untangling, like you said, unlearning, untangling, reworking so that we can build what that looks like. And I feel like the piece around giving it time to, or surrendering to it, like you said, and giving it time so that you can grow while you're growing something. And I feel like we don't talk enough, like just in open society, about
Yes.
growing as adults, growing while you're
Oh my
still
gosh.
living. You feel like you have to pause everything to grow, and that's just not true. Just like when
Mm-mm.
you plant a garden, everything else around it doesn't pause. It's growing while everything is going. And I always want to have that conversation open because it can be scary to dive deep into your life or your beliefs and things like that. And I get that because I've been
Absolutely.
afraid of stuff like that, but it is a constant thing. You just have to get the right team around you. And I know right now, speaking of fear, this pandemic, it's derailed, it's
Yes.
postponed so many people's goals and plans for 2020. Your 3 months in Lisbon has been postponed and things like that. So, what are you saying to clients right now about these postponements, these derailments? And clients who are saying it's just too late to go for it, or I've just
Oh my gosh, yes.
2020 is wasted. What are you
Yes.
saying to them?
Yes. Yeah. So, and that's so, I'm so glad you said the too late thing, because even before this pandemic, that's what I would hear women say.
Mm,
It's too, because of the age range that I typically work with, a lot of women do think that, oh, it's too late for me to make any kind of big change. It's too, or they feel guilty about, again, focusing that lens on themselves, or they are afraid of what they are going to find out. That's a big thing too, that they know that if I do this, yes, change is going to happen, and I'm afraid of the change. And so with this pandemic, for those, we're in this more than one thing can be true world right now, because there are the people who are out there on the front lines, or the workers who, don't have options and choices necessarily. And so they're struggling and they're in the thick of things and all of that. And then you do have, those of us who, have an opportunity to not be so caught up in the horror of the pandemic that we can't utilize this time for our benefit.
yeah.
And so, what do you do with that? Are you going to just hunker down, and you may be working from home and trying to manage, balance your children being there with you and all of these kinds of things, or worried about parents that you have been caretakers for. So you may have a lot of things going on at the same time. This is an opportunity, and this time is going to pass. Eventually the pandemic will pass. What one focus, if that, can look at yourself and say, on the other side of this, I would like to be, or I would like to do whatever that thing is. There is opportunity now for you to move toward that. Get a plan and start working toward that. You just don't have to sit and wonder what the pandemic is going to do to you. That's a mindset of just thinking that you can't, you have no agency in your life. That is, I believe everybody has a choice. Always. We always have a choice. I'm not saying the choices are easy, but once you start to believe that you don't have a choice, you have taken yourself out of the game.
Okay. So, I mean, like, so many things are just like, it's just spiraling in my head. So I'm hearing that, what can I do for myself right now? Don't take myself out of the game. Like, keep my agency, focus it on these smaller opportunities right in front of me as I build to bigger opportunities, right? So let's say I'm under motivated. I'm in my pajamas and sweats all day, even though I'm taking my Zoom calls and doing whatever. And I can't muster the energy. I can't get going. Like, what would be one thing today to do, or this week, not just today, because I'm
Yeah.
right now, this week, the rest of this month, like, what is
Mm-hmm.
just something people can do to kind of get back that passion if it's just,
Mm-hmm.
gone out the window, or whatever the case may be, or their window has closed to it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make your bed, put on some clothes, put on some earrings. So these little small shifts that are I'm huge into messaging. So you start messaging yourself, I've got something to do, someplace to be. It may be you're just moving to the next room, but you are moving. How are you taking care of yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Are are you eating well? Are you moving your body? So these are some foundational things. Then you move up to, okay, let me pull out that dream journal I had. And you may not have a real one, but you got one in your head. And there is something in that you have told yourself, one day I'm going to, or I would love to be able to. And when the next thing is, but we're in the middle of this pandemic, no, you can start working toward whatever that thing is now. And if you have some, crap to clear that you can't see, how to make that happen or how to make that work, then you seek help. You get help. Hire a coach. If your issues are deeper than that, get therapy. Now therapists have, you can get therapy online. And my business has always been set up to be online. And when we started Career Triage, we were like, wow, this is perfect, because we set it up to be online coaching, online classes. We set it up that way. And this is the time that there is so much opportunity out there for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to self-develop. You have no excuse. And the only thing that's in your way is you. And that's just always going to be true, but it is particularly true now in the midst of this pandemic, because you can find people who have always found a way to make a way.
So
yes.
So let me reveal and confess myself, right? So the pandemic hit and all that, and I had, like, just like you, this fabulous 2020, especially the first half, planned out presentations. I had set this goal that I wanted to present at least 4 national conferences with a minimum of 200 people in the audience. Very specific things I wanted to level up, and and connect that with traveling, right? And then, South by Southwest gets canceled. This thing I had on in April gets, like, everything is just canceled. And I was just feeling in my feelings, just like, this trip I had planned with my oldest to go to Paris for spring break canceled. College, and they're not going to have these types of vacations all the time. And we take a daughter trip every other month and stuff like that. And so I was on a call with my business coach, lamenting everything's ruined. It's chaos in my brain, all this work for nothing, and it's a mess, right? I'm in shambles. And so she's like, okay, so you get 5 hours, however you use those 5 hours, to have your pity fest. Have it. You need to have it out.
I love that. Put a timer on that pity party.
How much time you get? You've earned 5 hours spread out, and that's it. That's all the pandemic penny time you get. And she said, I predict that you are going to get different clients who are going to need your help to navigate these things, because it's going to be based on productivity and different plans. And she said, and then as you are working and supporting these people, I want you to put together what those tools were and write this book. So I am writing this book, right? I'm writing a whole nother workbook. I had another book I was starting. It doesn't feel right now. I put it on pause, but like you said, you listen, you look at that journal. I don't have a dream journal, but I'm a journaling fanatic. And look at that, and you keep going. And so, I'm writing 3 days, 3 mornings a week on this book. And, because, everybody's at home now, I don't have the same time, because I always had worked at home, and now they're in my space. But I digress. I'm making it work. And everything you just said, C. Renee, is just so specific. Like, it's not like I just got up and just said, okay, I am structured, I am ready to go. I had to get help with that. And I'm a coach, and I help. And exactly. It's so important that when you're stuck, and not that you try to figure out on your own, but you go get the help, you go get the support, you go get the nourishment, and you get a plan. And I love that you said, get that dream journal out, or, however you keep your notes,
Mm-hmm.
dust it off and find something else in that, because it's an opportunity that's different than what we thought when 2020 was going to start. And it's not a waste.
It's nothing is waste. That's one of my things. And I'm love that you said, because I'm a have a pity party and put a timer on it, girl, too. Put a timer on it. So you don't stuff down your feelings. You don't deny your feelings. You acknowledge your feelings and work through them.
Yes.
And yes, a coach can help you do that. And I love when you said, now, how our work has changed. I've got all these people here with me. But I digress. No, that is right there, because we can give ourselves excuses. Well, I can't do anything now. I don't have the space. No, there's a corner in your house. There's a corner at the end of your street. Get in your car, your driveway, your garage, whatever. There's a way to do the thing you want to do. Maybe you have to get up early in the morning. And this is I hate. I wake up early in the morning, but I don't like to have to get up early in the morning. But for the things that I'm doing now, it requires me to get up and get going earlier than I typically like. And so the question I always ask myself, what do I want more? What do I want more? So it's not about, okay, well, no, you have choices. So which choice do you want more? Do you want to sleep on your dream, or do you want to get your butt up and get moving on your dream? What do you want more? And that's how you push yourself, to taking tangible action. And yes, get help. You have we get coached. I just can't say that enough. And the other thing that people talk themselves out of is in not only investing the time, investing the money, right?
Right.
I can't afford a coach. Oh, that's how much you charge? Oh, really? And yes, this is what it is. Because what go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think people forget when they look at that price for whomever the coach or consultant or therapist. You're not just getting me like day one. You're getting all these years and all this study and all this. So
and the result that you're getting. What price do you put on changing your life?
Yes.
We really couldn't charge enough for that. But that's what we do. It's priceless. And so are you not worth that? Are you not worth that? And I had a woman once tell me, who was dithering about what it was going to cost. And this was a woman, she had adult children that had moved in back with her. She had moved from her room to the basement because they came back with, her children came back with their children, moved her into the basement. So she's living in the basement of her house, and she's just unhappy. She's like, oh, I'm just so tired of this. And then I said, okay, well, this is what we can do. And she's like, oh, well, I don't know. And I said, let me ask you this. If your son came to you and said, Mom, I need this much money, what would you say? Oh, I find a way to get it for her. Exactly. She didn't hesitate. So what you're telling yourself is that I am not worth what I would do for someone else. Ooh. And yes, that someone else is your child, but still, are you really saying that you, and what are you modeling for your children? That's a lesson you're teaching your children too.
Yes.
Yeah, so, we do we diminish valuing ourselves without even realizing it. And, people will say, well, I can just go get a book, or I can just go watch Iyanla on TV. And maybe that works for you. Because listen, Iyanla was one of my first inspirations to go into this field. But if your life has not changed, then Iyanla is not helping you. That book is not helping you. I know that I need personal accountability.
That part.
Yes, I need it. And I know what that accountability looks like for me. And typically it looks like I need to hire a coach. I read books all the time, and I love books. And yes, books have helped me. But when I really need to change a thing, I go hire someone and I get it changed.
And I just want to add on to that, I am like a voracious reader. One thing that my family can complain about is like, your stack of books keeps growing. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
working on it, you know?
I know.
But the thing I would say about the book, I find like the book is very foundational, and then you get that personal accountability. And the other piece too, for me, and I think you might agree, is that also how much energy do I want to put forward to figure out on my own,
Exactly.
or can I take that knowledge from the book and have my coach help me through it, and then I can go further faster, not at a breakneck speed, but you know, it's just faster than I could do it all by myself.
Right. Because that does connect back to your time question. Because, yes, if it depends on me, there are some things, yes, I'm going to just, okay, decide it and do it. But those harder things,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to dither and dither and dither. And a year will have passed.
Yeah.
And I'm still complaining about that same thing. No. What is that really about for you? So yeah.
Well, and I would say also the whole mindset piece that you've just been so clear on, you know, today, it for myself personally, and like I said, you know, I'm here with you as a learner, so this is why I'm confessing my sins, because people are like, oh, Kanesha, you're a productivity strategist, you get things done, you really organize stuff. That is true, but it does not mean that I don't get stuck, and it does not mean
Oh my
that I don't
gosh, no.
procrastinate. And I'm a master productive procrastinator.
Me too.
Yeah, I might not be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but my
But the house
closets are
gonna
gonna
get
be,
clean. Yeah,
yes, my
I'm
laundry will be
purging.
put
Yeah.
away. Things are getting done.
Oh, I'm gonna cook you a great meal.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, from scratch, like all the ingredients, you know. So sure, I'm doing things. I am productive, but is it not the right things on my goals list?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And so, you know, I like to just be clear about it, just
Yeah.
because if I'm helping other people, I have to let them know where I'm getting help.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I will
For
say this, you
sure.
know, this book I'm working on, I'm super proud of it because it's specifically focused on teens. But the piece is every workbook that I have written, I have almost not written it because I know there's already some workbooks and stuff out there. And I know there are people doing this. And my business coach are like, but they're not doing what you're doing. You
Exactly.
got to get this out here from you through you. And I just think all of us need so much more support around that. As we said when we started this, our coaching feels very noisy and busy. The internet, social media is very noisy and busy. So how do we get the right support to drown out all that unnecessary and still keep going?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
love you know, just from day one when you're like, let that shit go. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it sounds so simple, but to have that mantra, that mindset just right there, always tangible, it's so very necessary, I think, especially
Mm-hmm.
for women.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because we can back up some shit. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And that's what I tell women. It's like, okay, just think about that, from a physiological standpoint.
Okay.
What happens when we do allow it to back up? That's not healthy.
Yeah.
You will end up in the hospital. And it's the same way with, that mindset, crap that we allow to build up.
Yes.
It consumes you
Yeah.
and it keeps you stuck. And it keeps you, and it's a weight. When you let your shit go, you feel lighter, you
Yeah.
feel freer, and you are more open to taking action that serves you.
Yes. Yes, that serve you. And we should be serving ourselves while taking care of others, while
Mm,
building a life in whatever direction it comes to. It doesn't have to be, you know, all or nothing.
no.
And no, we can't do it all at the same time, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Mm-mm,
And
no. And the other
and I
thing,
feel,
Kanesha, is
yes, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say that with when you talked about taking care of others, because that is a thing about, well, it's selfish for me to focus on myself. And I have not met the woman yet who, when she got clear on who she is, what she wanted, and started moving toward that thing always benefits other people. But see, women can get caught up in this obligated living. So they're doing things for people under obligation. Obligation is taxing. Not that you never do things just out of obligation, but when you are mostly living 80% of the time under obligated things on your plate, that is exhausting. And when you move into that thing that you do, that lights you up, that you feel some passion about, some purpose in it, it's still benefiting other people, but now you're doing it from a completely different space. And it's so yes, you are still helping people, but now you're helping people on your terms, not on the terms of what somebody else says you should be doing, that you should be prioritizing, but on your own terms.
So this just makes me think about this morning I was reading on, I want to say it was Us Weekly, but people, if I have the wrong source, I'm so sorry. Just Google. But Kelly Rowland was getting interviewed, and she was saying that she spent, on her own, she spent 10 years of her career life allowing people to compare her to Beyonce,
Oh
and then
God.
allowing that affect what work she was going to do. She said that it affected, like, if she decided she wanted to pick a certain song or something like that. And then she said when she realized that she had to define her success on how Kelly Rowland was going to do it, even if all this other noisy stuff was going to be out there about comparing her to
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce, that wasn't their relationship, but she was letting all these outside factors come
Yes,
into that. And some people are like, I can't believe she wasted so much time there. And I'm like, no, that's not the takeaway. The
that's right.
takeaway
It's
is
not.
she acknowledges it and she's not doing it anymore. And she's telling the rest of us so we can stop doing that too. Like right now,
Stop that.
today.
Stop it.
Let that
Stop
shit
it.
go, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I thought it was refreshing because a lot of times when we see, when I say successful people, it could be like, super celebrities or
Oh yeah.
neighbor, whoever you see as successful,
Yeah.
you just think they're just a successful person.
Mm-hmm.
They came out of the
Mm-hmm.
womb successful, like just how their
Mm-hmm.
life is. And it's just like, have you actually talked to them about what success means for them and
Exactly.
how they're doing it? Have a conversation, ask a question, and understand where you all are going to have some connections of experiences and how your story and their story can, help you, because we can help each other. And it's just so clear that there's not enough conversations, but there's way too many assumptions being made.
Oh my God. And to that point, we, particularly when you're talking about famous people, but we do this to just the people in our circles,
Yes.
that you keep people in a box. So,
Yes.
when people will get mad, well, she's a singer. Why is she acting now? She should just be a singer. How we do that to people.
We do
And
that.
yeah, we do that to people. And so we want people to stay in the way we know them. And because that's the way it benefits us, right?
Yes.
I had a client who, um, legal secretary, who was just feeling really overwhelmed with living under everybody else's priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the go-to woman for it. If you need something done, go ask her. She's gonna say yes. Big, did work, strong worker in her church, always there when the church doors open, running this, doing this volunteer, all of that. And she was tired of it. She's like, I am so tired. I want to be at the top of my list. How is that gonna happen? And she learned, we worked on boundaries, how to say no.
Mm-hmm.
She and I knew she really was clicking into it when she told me that she had planned an evening, because she had an adult child living at home, moved them out. And she said, I had this evening plan. It was just going to be me. I just wanted to stay at home and just enjoy my home. And she said someone called and asked her, would she babysit for them? Now, what do we say when somebody says, what are you doing? And we say, oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Uh-huh, right? And she said, I thought about it. I wanted to help her. And I told her I couldn't do it. And I was like, what? And this was huge for her. Just a humble, non-assuming woman, mid-50s, just, sweet as she could be. And she learned how to say no. And a few months after our coaching sessions ended, I heard from her. She quit her job, moved across the country, because her big dream was to live near her grandchildren. That was her big dream. So it's not always about traveling around the world or da 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 da. But she made a decision, and she learned how to say no to everybody else's stuff and say yes to herself. And I just love that story. Every time I think about her, I get so excited about that, because one of the things I talk about is living your own personalized brand of freedom. What represents freedom for you?
Yeah.
That's what you want to work toward.
I mean, I just got chill bumps for this woman. Like, I know that feeling. I know that feeling to just do what you want to do and have people not understand it and just be like, hey, okay. And that's it. Like, no explanation. Like, and I'm not
Exactly.
talking about running off to like a cult or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
not like that.
No.
But like, even when I left, you know, I was working at that big university, the flagship University of Colorado, you know, running things in there, you know, youngish for the position and doing a really damn good job. And when I had taken it as far as I wanted, I told my husband, I said, hey, honey, I want to figure out something else to do. Let's be responsible and look at the financials. We got kids, you know, I'm not crazy person.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know, if we do it this way, you go do what you want to do. And, you know, and then you figure it out. And I always tell people, I said, I am always going to bet on myself, but that doesn't mean that I always know what I'm doing.
That's right. And that's why I love Beyonce's song, A Winner Don't Quit on Herself.
No,
because we have this other thing too that women feel, particularly women feel like we can't quit anything. You know, you can't quit. Oh. Once you say yes, you have to stick to it. I'm like, bump that. I don't quit on myself. When I find out a thing is not working for me, oh, it will be quit. Yeah.
I will tell you this, like my friends know this, but I don't know if the Bold Living Today community knows this, but like when we moved to Colorado from Chicago, and I had, in a 10-year period, I had 5 different jobs. People would not believe that. They're like, but I was like, no, not going, not. Oh my gosh, how are you doing that? I'm like, I cannot invest this amount of time. You know, I'm about kids, I'm about education. If I'm not doing my best work with this group, I can't go. And you know, and my husband knows the woman he married. He was like, well, okay, you're gonna figure out something else next. I'm like, oh, I'll get something.
Yes.
No worries. But
right.
I'm not gonna stay here.
Yes.
No.
And you know, we do ego work, right? And so we know about the ego.
Yes.
And so that's an egoistic thing to think that you have to stay in something you hate. Because if I don't do it, nobody else. You know what you are doing is you are blocking. You talk about being selfish. You are blocking somebody else's blessing by staying in a thing that's making you miserable because somebody else will love it. And that was another realization I had when I left corporate. I was sitting at my desk one day and I was keeping this list. Things I like about this job, things I hate about this job. And the hate list was getting longer and longer. And finally I said, there is somebody, well, there's not just somebody, there are plenty of somebody who would love to sit in this seat.
Yes.
This is about me. And things have chapters and seasons, right? And so sometimes things come to an end for us. The thing will go on, but it doesn't have to go on with me.
Right.
So it's time for me to clear this space for somebody else to come in here. It took 3 people to replace me, I will say that. But
every time. You didn't even have to tell me. I was gonna say 5, but only 3. Okay. Every time. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I lost track of time, so I don't know when we're gonna cut off.
Oh yeah, so, me either. I'm just talking to Kanesha like it's just me and you, right?
Okay, so I just want to say, it tells me, okay, we got 2 minutes remaining. I knew it was getting close. Tell us everything. I want to know how people can connect with you after this discussion, like where to follow you, and then tell us what's going on. So you go. I'm not going to say anything.
Yes. Okay. So me and 2 other brilliant women, Tanya Allen and Gwen Hall, we are the partners in Career Triage HQ, and you can go to careertriagehq.com to see what we're up to, get on our newsletter. And this evening, if you go to our Career Triage Facebook page, we will be there for Ask a Coach, and you can come check us out, ask us questions. We're going to be laying down some more pearls and juice and spilling all the tea. So just come on with us. So yeah.
What time, Renee? Tonight? What time?
Oh, I'm sorry. 6 p.m. CST. Yes.
Yeah, on Facebook, y'all.
On Facebook, Career Triage page. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love you so much. Thank you for coming on to Wednesday Club. So good. I can't wait to rewatch this so I can actually write my notes down. I'm so excited. You know,
I'm so excited.
But I gotta be here, but I'm like, I want to write that down. I'm like, you can write it down later.
Yeah.
And all of that. And so everybody check C Renee out on Instagram. If you see on my feed, you can see her handle. So follow her there, and then definitely check out Career Triage HQ.
Yes.
And just, you know, everybody, it is our time for opportunity. We can set the
Yes.
pace. It's our journey. We have our personal brand, and we can untangle for these things that, just don't serve us. Oh, yay. Your friend says, my bestie from college, go girl. Yeah, she's so awesome. So lucky to have her here. But everybody have a great
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
and
yes.
do
Thank
the
you,
bold
Kanesha.
thing. You can do it. You can do it. No,
Yes.
thank you.
When I
Woo!
can, I'm coming to Cali to see you, girl.
Okay. Okay. I can't wait.